Hey guys, I am so glad to be back with you all with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about my trip to South America, Ecuador, that I took when I was 17 years old, immediately after high school, and specifically about the time that I was almost kidnapped, possibly sex trafficked, and losing my passport, and just all the safety tips that you should have when traveling abroad, and especially to Latin American countries. If you are interested in watching this video, please continue watching and make sure to like and subscribe. That is so important. I am a new YouTuber and I'm trying to get my subscriptions up, so please like and subscribe my video and follow me on all social media platforms at keepit_chi. So with all of that being out the way, let's just get right into the story. So when I was 17 years old, I graduated from high school in Atlanta, Georgia, and I just wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after graduating. I knew I wasn't sold on the whole idea of college. I was like a real hustler in high school. I had all types of little entrepreneurship things going on that I wanted to continue. And I knew I loved to travel. So my mom found this really dope program, and I applied for the program, and due to having extensive international experience before that and just being who I was, I got accepted to the program and got a scholarship for the program. So I was really ecstatic about that, and I was assigned to Ecuador, South America, where I will be spending 8 months. About 8 weeks I spent in the capital, Quito of Ecuador, just learning Spanish and getting acquainted to the country with one family. And then the duration of my trip was spent on the outskirts, about 2 hours from Quito, in a small town. It was in the Cloud Forest district, and it was beautiful. I loved my host family. I actually had 2 host families during my trip. One family, while I was living there, I was teaching English and teaching dance classes, and just overall just like a really amazing experience with my family, learning Spanish, learning their culture, and you know how they identified themselves in society, and just learning a lot about what it means to live differently. And you know, I learned a lot about just loving life when I was living with this family, because even though they weren't the richest family, they just really appreciated one another, and they really had a sense of love for life. And I really loved learning that life lesson at 17 years old, and just being able to be immersed in the culture was phenomenal and fantastic. So yes, but with that being said, the program was super duper strict. The program that I went with was so strict, and we really weren't allowed to do much travel outside of the designated quarterly sessions that the program assigned, where we would all go as a unit to different locations. But being the outgoing, vivacious person that I was, continue to be now, but especially back then, I was a little bit more hot-headed. I wanted to do my own thing. So me and my best friend at the time, Tina, she was super duper dope, and we decided that we were gonna take a 2-week hiatus and go along the South American coast, all the way down or past, was it past Guayaquil? But they had a major city that was on the coast, and then we like went all the way down through the beaches of the coast, and it was literally amazing. I can say one of the most times that I would just say I was completely at peace with myself and with my surroundings. And guys, that's why I love to travel so much, because traveling just brings you peace. One of the only times in my life that I've experienced just pure blissful happiness, no stress, like no stress. I can't stress that enough. I remember one time being on the beach and just like looking around like, dang, this is life. This is what it's about. Just loving life, living, making connections with people. We met so many amazing people while we were traveling along the beach, that it was phenomenal. I remember one beach, they it was like at midnight, everybody came out on the beach, and they had like candles, and you could just see for like miles, just people with candles and just dancing on the beach. And I'm telling you guys, it was amazing, like a beautiful experience. But I will say that during this trip, we did a lot of things just risque, you know. we were so young, we didn't really care. Like, everybody knew where we were staying, everybody knew who we were, these foreign American girls, and that wasn't the safest thing to do. I will say that if you plan on traveling to South America, especially being so young, just make sure, we did do one thing right, we had a buddy system, so make sure you have this. It can just be dangerous, and especially as a woman, you don't want to fall victim to anything that can happen. So just make sure you have a buddy with you. Make sure somebody does know where you were. Although my mom knew what I was doing, my program didn't really know that we were going to be gone for that long. So that's just, you know, you just want to be safe. The super cool things that happened on this trip that I just can't ever forget in my life is like a few more people from our program, they met up with us when we like had hit another beach, or I don't remember which beach. It was so many beaches, y'all, I don't remember the names of the beach, but we had hit another beach, and we all went to this midnight bonfire slash beach fiesta. It was amazing. I mean, for a mile long, you could just see lights, people dancing on the beach midnight. We were getting it just like, hey, like, y'all don't remember, like, y'all don't understand, like, your girl was lit. I mean, just amazing, like just amazing. Like, I mean, I fell in love with traveling when I was real young, but that's when I really fell in love. Like, I could do this, and it's only $50 a night, less than $50 a night. So I'm telling y'all, travel, get out of here. There is life, there's happiness, there is peace here, because you got to find peace within, of course, but I'm telling you, you can just relax. And there's people that love you, there's people that would love to see you, would love to learn your experiences. So it was amazing. So anyway, so yeah, that time was just so completely awesome. And so then we just kept going along the beach. I remember another time we hooked up, we found like this you know, this little hippie guy like giving us some weed. I don't encourage drugs, but weed, you know what I'm saying? It was so good, and we just on the beach, we just like, yes. So it was so fun, guys. Okay, so anyway, yeah, we're having this awesome banging time, living our best life in South America for about a week and a half. So after about a week and a half, I guess my program, or my family, my host family, had informed my program that Chinyere was gone. So they, of course, got in contact with me, and they're like, hey, how are you? I'm glad you're doing good, but we need you to go home. So I was like, okay, we're on our way. Like, we're gonna get there. At the time, we're about a day and a half trip away from our house. So although the country isn't that big, it takes a lot, because there's so many different, you know, geographical things, these geographical areas, that it takes a while to like get through, even if it's technically not that far in miles. So from the coast, it would have taken it's about a 14-hour trip, a day, you know, a day trip back to our host community. So we're like, okay, let's get on this. So we're finding any means of transportation literally available to us to get as far close into town as close into where our host communities were as we possibly could. So we're on a bus, we're using taxis. At one point we were in a tuk-tuk taxi. If you don't know what a tuk-tuk taxi is, it's like a taxi motor. So it's like a motorcycle, and then you're like in like a little, I guess, a back my vocabulary is sucking right now, in like a back type of back seat of the motor taxi. So we're on that, and it's just basically forest. It's like fincas, they call them fincas, but it looks like a big like forest. So it's just forest around us, and we're just on the back, just trying to get back, just trying to get as close to town as we possibly can. So at about, let's just say it was like around 11 p.m. that was the last bus to get us to the next community that we wanted to get to. So we either had to spend the night in that town that we had last been at, or use a taxi to get to the next community. But at this point, if you would have gotten a taxi that late, it would have been very expensive. And of course, we're 17 years old, so we are traveling on a complete budget. So nobody had any money to be paying for a $100 taxi to get to the next community. So we had ran into some local police officers, or so we thought they were, and they offered to give us a ride to the next community. Yes. So being the innocent people and the innocent young girls that we were at the time, we got in the car with the guys and just started driving. So at first it was all good. I'm like, okay, we're on the main road. So I'm just like, whatever, we're on the main road to the next town. But then we take a right. and we were just going through the forest. I'm like, where are we going? I'm getting so nervous. So at this point, it felt like hours, but probably about 2 hours we had just been driving in the forest. And I'm like, yo, this ain't right. This ain't right. We should have almost been there by now, or, you know, like, this is not right. So I'm thinking, I'm asking Atina, my friend, I'm like, Atina, yo, like, what you think, what's going on? She's like, chill. Atina's from North California, so she was so chill. She was like, we're good. I'm like, something in me, I'm like, we're not good. We're not good. So I tell the guys, I'm like, hey, you know, my father's an ambassador and he's actually gonna just meet us at the next town. So can we just, you know, how long are we gonna get to the next town? I'm pretending to have phone calls, like talking to all types of quote unquote important people in English about meeting us in the next town. So I guess this kind of spooked the guys, and they end up coming back to the main road, and we drove to the main road and we got back to the main road. They didn't take us to the next town. I remember being left on the main road, and we got left on the main road, but I was so ecstatic to just be back on that main road. And the guys just kind of left. I guess they went back to the community. They were like, oh, well, we can't keep going any further, so we're just gonna leave you guys here and basically y'all figure it out. And this was all in Spanish, and at this time my Spanish wasn't what it was by the end of the trip, obviously, so it was really like a lack of communication. So I was just happy to be out that car. So it was so good. So anyway, I mean, it wasn't really good, but it was good to be out that car. So then it was okay. So I know this sounds really bad to hitchhike rides, but it was very common in Ecuador. I'm not sure about the whole South America, but it was very common in Ecuador to hitchhike. So your girl just had her thumb out. I'm like, you know, we had our thumbs out, and a bus ended up stopping, and we got on the bus and we got to the next town, and getting to our coast communities from there was really okay after that. So yes, that was the time that I was almost kidnapped in South America. And that goes to show, just like, if you feel like you're in a risky situation, just try to slow down, don't panic, and come up with the best solution that you can. Even if you gotta pull a scene out of a movie, pull a scene out of a movie, because that's the difference between life and death. If you got to freak out, who cares who's around? Who cares if you might cause a scene? I'm telling you, because that's the difference between your life and, you know, this could be a life-death situation. So I'm just so glad that at 17 I had the audacity to just come up with a elaborate lie about who my dad was, and just being this huge ambassador in the country. And I think I might even looked up a name at the time. I don't even know what I did, but because it was just moving so fast. But that's when you have to think fast and think smart to save your. It was about the time where we were all getting prepared to go soon, like not really go, but like 3 months we were about to leave. So I was just checking on my paperwork, or I'm not sure if it was that or if I needed my passport to go somewhere else, but for some reason I was checking to see if I had my passport still, and it wasn't in my bag. And I had kept my passport the whole trip under my bed, in my suitcase, in my largest suitcase, under it, inside or whatever. And it was no longer there. So my passport had literally just disappeared. It just was gone. So my program was really suspicious of my host family, which is why they moved me from that family to another family. And I ended up spending the rest of my trip in a town called Mindo, which was really, really cool. I mean, Mindo, if anybody's ever traveling to Ecuador, go to Mindo. I remember one time I did this like day hike, and they had about 5 rainforests there, and the rainforests were beautiful. I was with all my little cohort friends, and my cohort friends had came to visit me there, and we loved Mindo, and we loved just like, it was so like kind of cute, touristy, but still very immersed in the culture. Because the type of traveler that I am, I'm not a touristy traveler. I want to be of the people, one with the people, really feel like I'm a part of the community. So Mindo was the perfect balance between the two, and I really loved it. And yeah, if you're ever in Ecuador, South America, make sure you go to Mindo, and make sure you go see all the waterfalls, because they are beautiful. And don't eat too much rice and beans, because you will get fat. I got so huge when I was living in South America. If I can find a picture, I'll add a picture, but don't count on it. So yes, that is the time that I was almost kidnapped in Ecuador, South America. and the time that I lost my passport. So getting my passport back was pretty darn simple. I just pretty much went to the US Embassy, filled out the paperwork, blah, 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 got my passport back. So yes, if you guys are interested in hearing any more stories about or have any other questions about my trip to South America, please be sure to ask me and I'll come back and do a video continuing. I hope you guys liked my little Latina vibes that I was going for this video, because I just really loved my amazing time there. So please, if you enjoyed this video and want to continue hearing me talk about all my travel experiences throughout the world, please like and subscribe. Thank you.